Welcome. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to the spirits of this land. Welcome to the guardians of the directions. Welcome to the 5 elements and the 8 directions and the many dimensions of being that we bring together when we walk into the space and together can connect in the heart. So now one of our guests today, Marlene, will share from Science of Mind.
Self-love has very little to do with how you feel about your outer self. It's about accepting all of yourself. Every living soul is a point of personified God consciousness, immutable power now. You are not approaching the point, but you are that point now. Do you truly embrace and embody the idea that you are an individualized expression of the one infinite life, or is it just something you like to believe? How can you tell if you are still speaking poorly of yourself, making excuses, claiming childhood trauma, downplaying responsibility? It's still just a nice idea. This really hit home to me one day when I realized that every time I did one of these things, I was actually and actively dissing God, as I snidely asked myself, who do you think I am really? Really believe that I am an aspect of the divine? I remembered Marianne Williams' famous statement that includes, who are you not to be? Fabulous, gorgeous, beautiful. Who are we not to cling to our littleness, our wounds, and our fears, when all along there is this joyous, powerful being that is the essential truth of who we are? Of course, it's deep and humbling spiritual work to make sure this isn't simply the ego's hubris masquerading as enlightenment. One way to recognize when that is exactly what's happening is to notice every time comparison and judgment, criticism or aggrandizement show up in our minds, reactions or words. A simple way to move through this ego charade is to remember that everyone else is a divine being as well. So the affirmation, I'm going to do it in 3 parts. I embrace my spiritual nature as the truth of me. I release comparison, excuse, and criticism. I recognize and celebrate this divine nature in everyone. Okay.
Aho. Thank you so much, Marlene. That was beautiful. I'm so excited to be here with everyone today with this beautiful spiritual scientist who's come to us from another place not far and soon to be, I think, more a part of our community, I have a feeling. And I'd like to begin by really honoring the sense of place for our meditation today with an I am mana meditation. You know, in Hawaii, we sometimes forget how potent it is to be living on the shoulder of Mauna Loa, a pyramid volcano that is so large it causes a wobble in the Earth's rotation. And as we sit here, if we pay attention, we can feel the pulsing of mana under the Earth, right in the core of the planet, rising up as lava, as magma, as honest to God creativity from Pele, mana. So that's where we are. And all we have to do is open and draw that energy into our bodies. So I'd like for you with me now to just simply bring your hands down, aiming toward the earth. And close your eyes for a moment and feel the mana rising up below us. The center of the Lemurian continent, the center of the ring of fire, the cauldron and womb of our rebirth, our renewal at this important time. And feel the mana traveling up from the central iron crystal core in the center of the earth, traveling up your taproot right into your pelvic floor and into your belly, and feel the fingers pulsing, feel the palms pulsing. And as we inhale into the lower belly, feel the lower belly fill, and then fill the chest as you lift the arms, and feel the upper spirit soul as we lift the hands upward. And then exhale, bring the arms down. We'll do that 3 times, drawing on mana. Feel the mana underneath us. Inhale into the lower belly. Inhale into the heart. Inhale into the sky, the prana-filled Amakua realm. Feel it centering inside you. And then exhale, let the arms trace the aura as they come down. One more time. Feel the mana lifted up into the belly, into the chest, above the head. Amakua, feel the heavenly spirit pouring down as we cleanse the aura. And let's bring our hands close together, not touching. Anjali Mudra means gift from heaven. So let's concentrate on the gift from heaven between our palms. And breathe in the mana in your navel, and breathe out your wish for the new world out your third eye. Inhale, breathe in to the navel, draw in all that mana, and exhale your vision out the third eye like a beam of light. Twice more on your own, breathing in the mana. Expressing your vision. And before we open our eyes, let's see the vision surrounding us, the perfect vision. And as we open our eyes, this real concrete existence here becomes the vision. And as we meditate, we'll ask for a brief song. That was exquisite, Lori. This is a good time to introduce Lori Callis, who's a musician extraordinaire. She plays Indian Hindustani music, slack key guitar. She studied music in Benares, India, and Nepal. And she's just an amazing classical Indian musician. When you listen to her, you are transported. So thank you so much, Lori, for being here. And I'll introduce, if you like.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This instrument is from India. It's probably about 75 years old. And it's one piece of wood that was carved out. It has 39 strings, 3 gut playing strings, and the rest are metal with a skin covering that's similar to a drum on the bottom. And it's called a sarangi. It's a instrument used in a lot of special kind of parts of Indian culture. It has a long history, and I'm really honored to play it. So I think that's probably good for now about it. Thank you so much.
And I'll introduce our presenter, Ariya, in a moment. But I'd like to introduce first the New Thought Center. Is there anyone here that's brand new to the center? Yes, Marlene, you've already gotten to know a little bit of us. We invited her in first thing to participate and be one of our ministers, because that's really the unique facet of the New Thought Center, is that everyone is a minister. We minister to each other, so we receive the loving kindness when it is necessary and when the lights are bright. And we also share each other's burdens in ways that sometimes are not easy, but we do. And so I think of the New Thought Center here as rising directly out of the place that we are. If you look around and you see in Hawaii, there are many of the leles, the little bamboo altars. And then you have the rock altars, which are the pohaku. Pohaku means a stack of rocks or some kind of manifestation showing that the divine has been here. A sacred event, unlike anything else, and pure in heart and pure in spirit, has existed here. So when you pass a pohaku, you know that the divine has visited that place. And that's why we come close and the skin starts to crawl a little bit and we feel the tingle in the spine, because the spirit has been here. And that's how I feel about the New Thought Center, is that the spirit has been here. And the spirit still moves through us where we are supple enough to remove the obstacles to our love. Because we think about the earth now as being in a climate crisis. And I would like to share with you something that I share with the New Thought Center. With the climate is not the weather. The climate is our love. The constant that we have to give and receive is love. So love is the climate that we choose to live in. And that's what the New Thought Center is supposed to be. That's what the new thought is, when we are awake enough that we can transmit that and share that with each other in a really authentic way. Oh. Who has miracles and ordinaries to share? And for Marlene, our miracles and ordinaries are when somebody has something that is so exquisite and so miraculous, they want to share it. And it might be as simple as I found a dog, or I was able to heal a wound. It could be something very big. I won $1 million. I want that person to come up. You're my best friend now. Okay. So whatever your miracle or ordinary is, we would love to hear it. Please.
Seems like I'm always good for ordinary happening. So a couple of weeks ago, I do a lot of yard work at my property, like probably 6 hours a day, trying to keep up with the jungle. It's a lot better lately because of the drought. But anyways, I had 3 chainsaws, 2 weed whippers, 2 lawnmowers, 2 hedge trimmers, something. Anyways, all of a sudden they all quit working, like one by one. Like was out in the yard with one weed whipper that works great, and all of a sudden just wouldn't start anymore. Can't, and I'm good. I fixed all this stuff myself, so I know what I'm doing. And then I was using the other one, and all of a sudden it quits and it won't start anymore. And it's like for 2 weeks I've been trying to fix them, and I couldn't fix them. And it was exasperating. I put new parts in, everything, fuel lines, spark plugs, carburetors, stuff, and damn things won't start. So finally I went, well, gee, maybe there's water in the gas or something, because I put gas in it. So I took one of them and I poured the gas out, and yeah, well, there's this tiny something, I don't think it should have made any difference, in the bottom, and I poured it back in, and it started with no other changes. And like, wow, that's like whatever, I can't explain it. It just seems to happen because keep persevering, keep trying. Seems like a lot of things work that way, even if I don't understand it. And so the other one still wouldn't work, and I go, oh, God, I don't get it. And I changed the gas, and it didn't help. So I went, well, I just put a new spark plug in it, but I bought a spark plug tester, and it says everything's working. And I bought a new, what you call a magneto that generates electricity in it and everything. And no, nothing. Anyways, so I ended up, just on a chance, I took the new spark plug out and put in an old one. And it started on the first pull. And I got far out, I knew I bought a plug that's no good. And then actually another miracle. I decided, like, hey, I'm on a roll. I got things are starting now. So I drug out this old chainsaw that hadn't run for 2 years that I gave up on, I couldn't fix. I poured gas in it, started on the first pull. It's like the universe is okay. And last thing is, last week, Friday, I fell out of a tree about 15 feet with a chainsaw. Landed on my feet and back and hit my head, went to the ER. Everything's fine, but I'm going, it's like, that's a miracle that I didn't really get screwed up. So it's like a good lesson. Of course, I did go back up a couple of days later and finish it because I was kind of mad at it. That this tree can't get away with that. So thank you for sharing.
Long live healthy power equipment. Right? Right. Yeah. So who else? Aloha. So
about, oh gosh, 2 weeks ago, I've been working on, some of you know I got another place, but we're not really there. But I've been taking care of 2 places, and it's a lot of yard work, and didn't fall out of a tree, but I felt like it. And my hip decided it didn't want to be happy anymore. So I had to really take it easy, and that's hard for me, but I've been just resting, and Alan's back, which is wonderful. And but I've had to kind of take it easy because I thought I'll just walk out that pain. I walk everything off, The hip said, thanks a lot. Didn't work. But I'm now, like even last week, I really couldn't come because I was in so much pain. But I'm just so grateful. Start doing more of my yoga stretches and such. But also what I realized a lot of it was just feeling overburden of just moving forward. Louise Hay says, this fear of moving forward. And I feel that was true. And so as I release any fear, we can buy fear all day long. Oh, that tree's going to get, or that tree's dropping me, or, so many things happen in life that I really know the more I feel better and such, the more I am just grateful. And every time I'm feeling, there's so much beauty. And I think that's part of maturing too, is that we realize that everything is so precious. And, even though these are very temporary, let's take good care of them while we're here, and take the best care of them. Don't power through just because you think that's what you're supposed to do. But sometimes your body doesn't want you to power through. Sometimes your body wants you to just chill. And that seemed to work for me. So I'm just very grateful. And I'm upping my yoga stretches again because that was something. Now, what haven't I been doing? Oh, yes. So take good care. And I'm just really grateful. Okay.
Oh, bravo for yoga. Who else? We have time for one more. Okay, I'll go. As usual, I'm offering this. Can you hear me? I'm offering this miracle in advance. So once I introduce our beautiful speaker today, and she gives her amazing talk, then we're going to have another piece of music. And during that music, the miracle is going to be is that we're all going to get up with banners, with beautiful silk, and we're going to dance in the back. Erin's going to lead us. No, she'll help us. And move with these beautiful white scarves so that we express the angelic nature that our presenter today is bringing to us. She's going to talk to us about immortals and angels and spirits. And so I brought these white pieces of silk as a future miracle that we'll create today. And Liza will take our photographs so we can send it to all our friends. Miracle in the making. Yes? Yes? Okay, thank you. So different hat, role of facilitator now. So I have the pleasure of introducing Aria Lorenz. She is an author, a healer, a meditation guide, and someone who created the app Soulvana. She's been a guest speaker at the Omega Institute. But long before that, she was born. She was born with the ability to channel divine healing energy. She works with angels, ascended masters, extraterrestrials, and other light beings, and enhances the energy and results of those interactions in our physical world. She's practiced more than 15,000 energy healing sessions, and she's here today to share with us from struggle to thriving, how to step out of your ego and into your higher self. So we're ready.
Thank you very much for introducing me, my dear. Beautiful. Okay, now I need to make this microphone work. Is this working? Thank you so much. Okay, I'm so grateful to be here. Aloha, everyone. And I see all these beautiful, inspired faces, inspired eyes, and I'm aware that you are aware of your higher self and your calling in life, to bring forth that divine spirit in whichever way you are meant to bring it. Yeah. And so this is what my passion and my mission is to help people connect to their higher self and to bring that forth and live more from the higher self rather than from our upbringing, our conditioning. Let that conditioning and the upbringing be there as an informative aspect and as a stepping stone, but not as the director. And of course, we are aware of that. But come certain circumstances, like for example, the time we're in right now, just before Christmas, right? And you're like, okay, never mind meditation. Now I'm going to buy some stuff and I'm going to do some presents, and I have to, right? And then we're going into I have to mode. And if you're in the I have to mode, you're not into I'm letting mode, right? And so thank you for your beautiful introduction. I did not create the Solvana app. I let the Solvana app offer my meditations, which is beautiful. So this letting mode, this beautiful letting mode is what we want to tap into, yeah? But then sometimes if you're in this really, really strong action mode, it could be garden work, it could be buying presents, it could be teaching, it could be whatever you're doing. The energy is so strong, right? And it's very palpable that whereas the higher self is not as tangible, and it's very subtle and you can't hear it much. So what can we do? What are the practical tools we can use that work actually with the real solid brain that's like strong and intense in its information that's given out, and also the way it receives information? It needs strong impulses. And how can we bring the subtle energies from the higher selves into that so it actually translates and we receive it? Yeah. So who would say they're aware of their higher self and their ego? Give me a sign. Yeah, beautiful. That's what I thought. So most of us are aware of our higher selves and our egos, and we're going to do a meditation later, if you let me guide you, where we're going to work with that knowing, okay, this is now my higher self I'm in, and this is now the ego I'm in, and finding ways of programming that part of the brain that is very strong and is directive, that it actually listens to the very subtle energies. Because really, if I'm like talking the way I'm talking right now, you're listening to me, and after like a few minutes, you'll adjust to my noise level, yeah, to the sound and the loudness of the voice, and you'll settle into that, and all the other stuff that you're hearing on the outside falls away, and now we're in tune. Now, if I would talk more silently, things would shift. You would hear the outside more, and you would need to adjust again. If I would talk very loudly, it would become different again. So what's happening in our brains is our brain is constantly adjusting to the input, and it's then creating a different output. And I've worked with children in my profession is occupational therapy, and we learn to work with children with their brain development. Yeah. And let's say if they have a difficulty in writing, we find out what in the brain is actually not receiving the information correctly or creating the correct output so that that child can write. Yeah. And it can be either one, can be the input or the output, and it can be the communication between input and output. But we basically look at how the brain responds. Now, what if we did this today? what if we said we're going to look at our brains and you're going to take your brain, how it functions, if you'd like, and we would say, okay, obviously we all want our brains to receive the information from the divine most clearly. Would we agree on that? Anybody agrees with that? Okay, so we wanna be a good conduit for the divine inspiration, yeah? And now what if we took our brain and we gave it some input, some clear input as of how to translate the messages that are coming in from the divine into a form of communication that is as strong and as tangible as our ego's voice is. Yeah, huh? Yeah. Because really, most of the time, that's what's needed. It's not, oh, you got to become aware of your ego, or oh, you got to become aware of your higher self. You are already. You've worked, you've done spiritual practice. We're the spiritual center here. Everything she said is already so speaking to that, who we are and why we're here. But if I don't understand the message, I can't do anything with it, right? And it is as much an adjustment as it actually is the hearing. So the adjustment to, let's say, the strength of the voice, yeah, is the important factor. Now, there's a part of the brain that is called the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus is like gatekeeper. It's like this beautiful lady here who got us in and has said, you guys sign in, and if you're not signed in, you're actually not coming in. Right? Now, the hypothalamus does that, literally. Yeah? So information comes in. It could be sound. It could be any other sensory emotions. You're feeling the wind, temperature. It could be words that make some sort of sense to you. It could be things you see. Yeah? So everything that comes in via our senses goes into the hypothalamus, and there will be one exception I'm going to speak about in a minute, but everything that comes into the hypothalamus goes through this process in the hypothalamus where the hypothalamus says, okay, you're relevant, you're coming in, and you're not relevant, you're staying out. Now that's what I think why the ancient Hawaiians did not see the ships with Captain Cook, because it wasn't relevant for the hypothalamus. They've never seen ships, and so they could not perceive it. Now, they've done many tests, and we all know this. We hear talk or we read a book and we read it again, and we're like, I've never read this. I don't understand. What happened? I mean, I know I literally read this and I've never heard these words. Yeah, you know about that? Has that happened to you? Yeah. So that is because at the time, things weren't relevant for your hypothalamus, and it literally put it straight into subconsciousness. It doesn't even pass by your consciousness. So if it doesn't pass by my consciousness, am I aware of it? No. I can't see it. I don't hear it. I don't know it's there. Now, to know that is pretty important because it really means your brain can trick you. Your brain does not, of course, it doesn't trick you on purpose, but it really does not reflect reality. Yeah? Now, that's why we meditate, in order to become aware of the higher reality of all that is. Now, what happens to me all the time is I'm going into meditation, and, all of a sudden the world falls away, and I'm like, oh, yes, beautiful, all is well. And I literally think when I'm in meditation, or perceive that nothing will ever be a problem again. I'm convinced. I'm coming out of this meditation, and it can be sometimes a minute later. Somebody will say something. My son can attest to that. He's like, you just meditate? I come out of meditation, something happens, and it hits me the wrong way. And my hypothalamus will say, this is relevant. And it's going to create a reaction, which is fight or flight most of the time. And then you're going to fight or flight, right? And then my family says, go back to the meditation room. So why is that? Because it is considered relevant. Now, this is where we have the power. This is where we have the power. Yeah. We have to find a way, we get to find a way to make the divine input that's coming from our higher self so relevant that it is perceived as loud and clear as any other message that is relevant for us. Yeah. And this is what most people don't know. And because they don't know it, they don't do it. Yeah. And the way to make something relevant is, what do you think? How do you make something relevant for your hypothalamus? Any suggestions? Emotion. Any other suggestions? And what makes it important? Yeah, what you value. So what you value goes in there. Emotions go in there. What else? Is it safe? Is important. Yeah. Is it honest? That's your value. Yeah. So is it aligned with my value? Anything else? What makes something important when somebody tells you something? Yeah, you have to pay attention. If you pay attention, it becomes important, because if you pay attention, your hypothalamus will think it got to be important because she's paying attention. Yeah. So it's more of the process, the attention. But there's one other factor. If I would tell you, you get to have, let's say you're like me, you get seasick when you see a boat. I don't even need to step on the boat. I just see it and I'm already seasick. And somebody would tell me, you're going to get a boat. I'm going to give you a boat. Or they would tell me you get a horse. Now, I love horses. Which message would be more relevant for me? Yeah. So the outcome, your outcome, what you're going to get from it is relevant. Yeah, makes it relevant. So now we basically have gathered the factors that play into that. The emotion is important. It's important that it's aligned with your values. It's important that it's considered safe for you. Yeah, because safety is always a trigger. It's important that it is valuable for you. You like it. You want to have it. Yeah. And I think that's about the most important ones. Now, how do we create that when we get messages from our higher self? Here's the thing that we found out. We tested a few people in our meditation groups, and we found out that the messages from their higher selves, while people want to hear them and they say, yeah, I'm really interested in it, they do not consider it important. They don't consider it important. They do consider it relevant on an emotional basis, if it is aligned with a value, or if it is important for something they actually want. So those factors, they got to be in there, but then they do consider it important, but they don't think it's in general important. There is the message in there that whatever my brain tells me, whatever makes sense to me, is important. And that is the factor why the hypothalamus lets the higher self messages in so silently, ever so silently. And a reasoning why you should do more yak work, why you should go back up on that ladder, very loudly, right? Yeah. So they found out it's the importance. Now, can we give it more importance, and how do we do that? The best way to give things more importance is to amp up those two factors, the emotional content and the reason why you want it. Yeah? So if you felt on your knees often enough because you didn't listen to your higher self like me, then you're going to listen to your higher self more, right? If you actually did well with your reasoning and you don't really notice much, the difference, you just stumble through life and you may not end up getting the results you want, but it feels kind of okay, then you may not. So the emotion and the value is important. And I would love to offer a way of how we can make it valuable without needing to fall on our knees. Yeah. Without it being valuable because of avoiding pain. It should be valuable because of the joy and the beauty we get from it. Are you with me? Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. So the thing we want to attach, and this is what I do with the children in occupational therapy. There's a child, let's say, and it needs to write, right? And it cannot write. And whenever it's writing, it's all over the place. No beautiful letters, and they're also, mirrored all the time. So if I tell that child, go ahead and write more, what do you think is going to happen, right? Oh my gosh. Like, go ahead and meditate more. Make the higher self voice relevant. Like, huh? I've been trying that all my life. Get away. I don't like that. It's not working, right? So we want to find that part in the brain, and that's where the spiritual scientist aspect comes from in what she wrote, is I went on a journey and actually asked my higher self constantly on how the heck do you actually communicate with the brain and how does the brain respond so that I can understand how to train my brain, since we all have trainable brains, every single one, that I can train my brain to listen to my higher self more than to the ego. Yeah? And so what I got is look at the children. And so I looked at that child that was writing, and in occupational therapy, you find a way to let the child practice what it needs to practice in order for the writing skill to get better, that it likes to do, that it has fun with. So the secret ingredient is, on the emotional level, fun. We gotta make it fun. We gotta make it fun. As soon as you make it fun, your brain becomes 10 times more receptive. Yeah? So what I did with the child is we found out that the problem was, for some people, it also is, on the receiving end. Yeah? We found out that for the child, the problem with the writing was on the receiving end. So the sensory input from the fingers to the brain was not very sophisticated. That means when the child is holding this pen and is having the arm a certain way, of course, in order to move the arm and the fingers very finely, and so they can create really beautiful letters, yeah? All these muscles, they constantly have to report back to the brain where they are positioned so that the brain can go back into the fingers and get the next movement going. Yeah. So it's a constant boo, 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 back, forth, right? Adjusting. So this child, when I asked the child to jump, it jumped like this, right? It couldn't jump like that. And why? Because that modulation, it's called, wasn't working well. And the modulation can potentially not work well because the output isn't working. The brain is not giving the right input to the fingers. But in this case, it was the input. Now, for us today, relevant is the input and the output. And you want to find out in a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for a moment. You want to find out with yourself if for you it is the input that's making the voice silent, or if it's the output. Yeah? The input would be, are you able to get in contact with your higher self? Are you able to feel connected to that inner voice? Then your input is fine. The sensory input to contact the higher self from your brain up to the higher self is fine. Then the problem may be, if we're calling it a problem, but maybe you want to enhance the output. Yeah. The other way would be if you get the messages fine and you know what you're supposed to be doing, but you're not doing it. You're like, okay, I know I shouldn't be moving, but there's this other fear movement that wants me to do my stuff, right? So I'm going to do it, right? So for me, that's my factor that I always need to enhance, is to actually listen. So you want to find out, is it the input? Am I having a hard time actually hearing what my higher self is saying? Then we're going to do one thing. Or is it that I have a hard time listening and following through? Okay, so let's close our eyes for a moment, if you're willing. And just like the child that I was working with, I had them close their eyes and just feel the movement in their hands and tell me where their hand was moving. I'm going to ask you right now, if you're willing, to just feel into a situation that's relevant for you, something that's up, and feel in that situation something that you'd like to get or something you'd like to receive an answer for. Feel if you can become aware what your higher self would be telling you if you were listening. And when you feel you have it, just hold your hand up silently. I can see it. Few more moments. Okay, beautiful. Most of you have it. So now close your eyes again. You know what you heard. If you don't know, it's fine. And find out how likely it is that you will move on that suggestion on a scale from 0 to 100. 100% is absolutely, 0 is not. So how likely is it? Close your eyes and feel your willingness and your boldness, your commitment to do that. If you have it, show me your hand, please. Good, good, good. Very quick, beautiful. Almost everybody. Okay, so who was below 50% in moving on the message? 50. Okay, let's say below to up to 50. 2, 3, 4. Good. Who was below 70? Okay. And who was at 100? Beautiful. Okay, great. So my understanding is most of the people were not at 100. We had a few that are at 100. We had most everybody except for 2 who got the message. So we want to definitely amplify our willingness to move onto that message. Now, if you're willing to move onto the message, it becomes relevant. Yeah. That is really the thing. That's when it becomes important. Yeah. If I say to my child, "Oh, wait, I can't talk to you now," and then he's coming later and says something, "Okay, come now," and then I say, "Come later," and I keep saying, "Come later" for another 10 times. Is he going to come back and ask me something, tell me something? It's like, "Mommy," he'll try it quietly, right? This is what our higher self does. It goes through the hypothalamus that way. It becomes really silent. So that's going to amplify the voice greatly. Let me ask real quick, how much time do we have? Okay. Good. Beautiful. So right now, we can do this exercise together if you would like. And we're just going to amplify the action part. It will also have an effect on your take, receiving the messages better. But most everybody didn't really have a problem with that. But it'll create something in your brain that makes it more relevant. Now, I would like to encourage you to do that on a daily basis. Like, for 30 days is ideal because it changes our brain structure if we do something for 30 days. I like to do it every day because it is uncanny how clear the higher self messages become once you do that. It's really a powerful tool. So, are you willing? Are you ready? Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Okay. So let's just close our eyes for a moment. Now feel your higher self. Connect with your higher self. See it like a shining sunlight, bright as sunlight on water, shining out of your chest. And then briefly become aware of your ego. How do you feel when you're in your ego? You could be in stress mode or anything like that. Just feel that, become aware of that. Now go back to your higher self. It does help when you sit upright and have your spine upright, because when you connect to your higher self, the energy goes up your spine. And then for a moment, back to your ego. And then higher self. Now see that sun shining in the middle of your chest. And try to become aware of the feeling you're having. How does it feel when I'm in my higher self? Where do you feel it in your body? How does it change your body sensations? And if you could give it a symbol, what symbol would represent you being in your higher self? Allow that symbol or a color to appear for you that you're going to be able to draw later. And then if you're willing, you can enhance the energy of the higher self. Naturally, it will happen. if you're willing to surrender to it more. And if you are, please follow my voice. You can do it inwardly. Higher self within. I joyfully surrender myself to you. Please live through me. Feel through me. Feel how your higher self enhances, how the golden sun enhances its light as you say these words. Think through me. Act through me. Be me. Now let that sun shine brighter and brighter, expand beyond your heart chakra into your whole aura. Allow it to expand to each other into the room. I'm going to enhance it a little bit with Lemurian light language. And just feel it, see it, make it as real and tangible as possible. Yani kaya hane ikai una kia kalahani ayona. Hey, feel it, feel it. Now think of what you were thinking of before, what you would like to solve or enhance, get an answer for, get a solution for. See your higher self embracing that situation, that golden sunlight. See it dissolve in that light. Now, who are you when you're in your higher self? Feel how safe you are. Feel how aligned with your values you are. Feel how relevant this is for your life, for you to be in your higher self. How much of a difference does that make? And inform your brain right now with how relevant this is, just via your intention. Feel the level of ease and joy. We're going to sit a few more moments in silence to allow that energy to be fully present in this now moment. Take a few more breaths. And then anchor with your next exhalation. Anchor this energy into your roots all the way down into the crystal in the heart of the planet. Allow it to settle down in that crystal and then breathe up from the crystal the answer, the energetic answer. Do that 3 times, breathing out into the crystal through your roots and in from the earth. Two more times in your own rhythm. Beautiful. We put our hands in our prayer, right and left hemisphere to integrate. When we ground energies like that, they become available and so we can actually live it more rather than just have it as a concept. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You may open your eyes. Thank you very much. I'm just sharing with you the child we talked about. Within 4 weeks, he could write. What we did is we got him onto a fun journey that he really loved to do, and it turned out he loved to jump on the trampoline. So we got him on the trampoline and he started jumping. And so he was exercising this communication between the input and the output in a fun way. And that got him to write it within 4 weeks. So if we do this and we create it fun, we make it in a fun way. We don't like, I got to do this. We're like, I get to enjoy this now. It goes very quickly. So I want to encourage you to do that. And I'm so grateful that we could do this together. Thank you so much. Aloha.
Thank you so much, Aria. That was just beautiful. And before we go right on to the next thing, I wanted to mention to Lori the next music is for moving during our offertory. So I think we all can just kind of breathe very deeply and take in the wholesomeness of what we've just participated in, this ability to bring together all the different realms of our being into one pure center. How lovely and how great to have that to do together. And then next, we're moving here toward our ending. We'll have announcements in a moment. We'll have our closing song, Hawaii Aloha, in a moment. But before then, we have our offering bowl here. And this is if you are called to leave a totem of your love, an icon of your love in the offering bowl. We would very much appreciate it. That helps to keep the lights on and and the spirit flowing. And I would like to invite Lori to make the music for us. And those of us, there are plenty of these. I don't want to be pushy about it, but how wonderful if we can just stand and allow ourselves to be moved by the music and let these beautiful silk pieces of fabric be our wings. And our beautiful photographer friend Liza is going to take a photo so that we all have something to share later on. So much for bearing with us, and for people at home, we share with you the amazing amount of love that transferred in the silk, in the banners, as we became a human prayer flag with our beautiful silk banners and the sense of really connecting to send peace around the world. There's nothing quite as valuable as that in our hearts, to feel peace and to share that peace. So we will come together. Thank you. Yeah, you can just bring the banners up here and leave them over here on the table. That would be great. So in closing, I wonder if, yes, first, do you have any announcements that you want to make about what you're doing in the upcoming weeks or months that you want us to know about?
Okay, yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you for that opportunity to announce something. We do have a membership on my brand is called Divine Alchemy, because it helps kind of burn away the lead from our upbringing, our conditioning, and bringing through the higher self. And we have a membership, which is a monthly membership that has a progression of steps to reach the higher self and to be more in contact, conscious communication with the higher self. And that's called the Lemurian tribe. It's about Lemuria, which is really, you mentioned it, coming together in oneness and recreating heaven on earth on this planet. And so this is called the Lemurian tribe. I would love to invite you to that. It's a beautiful bi-monthly call, similar to what we did today. And yeah, it's really for light workers of the world. So beautiful possibility. Thank you so much. I probably should say where to find that. Sorry about that. Where can you find the Lemurian Tribe membership? You can find it on my website, which is called arialorenz.com. AriyaLorenz.com. AriyaLorenz.com. Thank you so much.
Forward to that. So next Sunday here at the New Thought Center, as usual, there will be free childcare if you reserve it in advance. There also is the free live stream, or you can, I think people need to sign up to come live still, correct? No, you don't. So, okay. All right. So simply show up. If you can reserve beforehand, that is great. Next Sunday is Dr. Susan Gregg, who's going to be talking about giving thanks for what is, music by Mahina Saunders. The next week, we don't know. It's a surprise guest. But Lori is playing music again. And then December 5th, Christmas decorating. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Trim the tree, deck the lanai, and there's going to be a mini service, no speaker. There's no crystal bowls meditation at this point. The last Sunday of the month, there is a produce giveaway after the service. And Shelley Pearson will offer a workshop if she has at least 10 people who sign up beforehand. And that workshop would be announced after you sign up, it looks like. And where people can email Shelley at into, that's letter N, 2, number 2, souls, SOULS, at outlook.com. And you can sign up, or there's a sheet in the lobby that you can sign up. And there'll be a Christmas Eve service. Volunteers are always needed. And your volunteering is an opportunity to really share with others. And whatever you do is appreciated. Don't let anybody ever think or make you think that what you do isn't important and vital and valued, because it truly is. And then in closing, I would like for us just to sit for a moment as a pohaku, as an altar, as a bodily altar. So let's close our eyes for a moment and feel the sense of the divine moving through us and our bodies as a sacred vessel to receive spirit with whole brain, whole heart. All 72,000 nadis, or rivers of light in the body. All of the 37 trillion cells in the body percolating with new light and new life. Centered in the heart, feel how every breath that you receive is an affirmation from the universe that you are needed here. You belong here. You are nourished. You are a gift to the earth. And you are a temple, a pohaku. And when you open your eyes, see the radiant light in every being that is around you, and even in the spaces between the things and the people and the trees. All of that space is all filled with spirit. And in closing, if there's nothing else, we'll stand up and we will sing the beautiful Hawaii Aloha together. This was written, some people think this was written by Queen Liliuokalani, but she wrote Aloha Oi. A man named Lyons Lorenzo wrote this song. And if you don't know the Hawaiian, you do know the Olie. We'll go like Olie, Olie. Everybody can sing that. And it means rejoice. So you can just Olie all you want. And then if you know the words, great. If not, they are placed around the room for you. Aloha.